Okay guys, all systems are up and running at full capacity. I have hacked into the network. I'm in. Alright, we're good to go. There you go, Light, I beat you to it. We're back, guys. Alright, let's continue, huh? Let's continue. Looking back properly, there you go. We're sitting at 0% frame loss, so it should be a seamless connection for most of you guys. Hopefully the rest of the streaming experience is going to be fine for you. Let's continue, huh? Lights, form shadow here. The form shadow is going to be much closer to the actual value here. Why do you have weak Wi-Fi? Why do you have weak arms? I'm kidding, it's because I live on the top floor of my building. Again, highlight. Highlight. He's becoming so poofy right now. We might need to reduce the poof. We might need to reduce the poof right here. I think it's getting a little bit too much. You guys let me know if the poof is too much, alright? We'll cut it in the... We'll nip it off a little bit. We're reaching some epic levels of poof with this rendering right now. Because I'm just rendering these things as spheres. And spheres tend to be the epitome of poofiness. More poof? Alright, I mean he said it. He said more poof, guys. That's the light, this is the dark. Because again, halfway to black, coming to save us. More darkness, I feel like. There you go, there you go. We just want to get a good grip on what is light and what is dark. I mean, look at how poof. Oh, this guy's. He's so poof right now, are you kidding me? Even from this to this. Like a reverse weight loss program. The idea is that I'm just top lighting it, but I'm adding a lot more volume, right? I'm adding a lot more volume just because these are being rendered as spheres now, okay? Remember we talked about spheres yesterday? Highlight, major light, shadow, core shadow coming in here, right? Core shadow's coming pretty soon. Let's put the core shadow. Okay, core shadow it is. Right over there. This is technically a halftone. Let's not be crazy here. It's technically a halftone. What did you call me? There you go, poof, smile. Oh, look at his little snoot. He's so cute. He's so puffy. I love him. Alright, the dog nose. This nose is gonna be dark in general, right? What did we talk about, guys, yesterday? What we talked about? We talked about the idea. What does the nose look like? He's got a little button nose, okay. What does a lion nose look like? I know what a lion nose looks like. Let's do something in between. Something in between. How about that? That. That sound good to everybody? Any schnozzers in chat? Oh god, don't answer him. Okay, so remember, this is currently just a flat shape on our piece. But we want to make it three-dimensional, right? So what do we do for that? All we gotta do is think about what the light's gonna be. What's a good place to start? Anybody? Anybody? There you go, halfway to black. You in the back. Good job. So push it halfway to black. Get the light value. Reverse engineer it. That's the corresponding light value. Now, does that make any sense in color theory? Not really, right? If this is just gonna be dark warm, subject to some sort of semi-warmy desaturated light, maybe a bit grayer than that, I feel like. This might make more sense. Right, but again, played by ear. Played by ear. We're gonna give him a little bit of nostrils in here, right? A little bit of nostrils. So dark, deep, saturated, dark value in there. What the hell, stream elements? He's spazzing out, don't worry about it. Dude, Indiana Bro is live. Have you ever gotten burnt out head, forgot breath? Yes. Next question. What do the nostrils look like? Reference time. Oh, he's got big old nostrils, my goodness. Can I do that? Is that legal? Oh, Jesus Christ. What did I do for the original? Oh, I gave him little, like, little nubby nostrils. I honestly don't know which one's worse. We can deal with that, that's fine. I'll make a decision about that later on. This is gonna be one of the, let's just leave it as is for the time being kind of decisions. Okay. I'll add some little highlights because it makes me happy. Remember, highlights need to be consistent across the piece. So highlight up here means highlight down here. Okay, sound good? Alright. This is going to be front facing. Front facing means this value. Maybe a bit darker than that. A bit more saturated, please. Don't just darken your shadows. Also add more saturation to them. Now you see, now it's getting that volume. Now you're seeing that thing happening. Seeing that curve happening. Bit more of that, right? Bit more of that. See, now we're cooking with some fire. I mean, I get that all the time. How can I not forget? Well, you know who got a great answer for that? Smashy. He's got a great answer for that. You should ask them. I heard that they have just the perfect answer to that question. There you go, Smashy. Take the floor. Go ahead and answer that question, would you? Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Is this guy's eyes gonna see the light? Have we asked that question? Is his eyes gonna see the light? Let's just say it's true. Let's just say he does see the light. What am I doing? I don't know what you're doing, man. Just make something up. You know what's characteristic with animal eyes? They got like mascara on. They got like jungle mascara on. Right? Have you ever had a dream that you could what? Who wrote that? Alright, so they got that jungle mascara on, so we're gonna put a little bit of that jungle mascara on, okay? Oh, Jesus Christ, he's coming. He's fashionable and he's dangerous. Oh boy. This might be a huge mistake. Does he have anything like that? No, it doesn't. I mean, he kinda does, right? It's kinda does. Okay. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Alright, he's not going through a phase. We're gonna integrate this idea, alright? It's not a god phase. He's not Zoolander. We're gonna make that work, chat. And if we can't, then we'll just scrap it, okay? We'll just leave it there. Just leave it there. It's gonna be fine. The big question is if I want to light this or not. The thing is, if I'm gonna light this, that means I need to dramatically reduce the poofiness. Right? Let's work to work it out. There you go. So we can maybe consider that the poofiness is a bit heavier over here. Creating a shadow down here. And it maybe lightens up near the top, which allows me to put this value here. So I'm just bringing this light, the eyes, into more of the foreground. Does it have a little bit of shadow here? Which I am not afraid to use, by the way. I'm not afraid of doing something like this. You shouldn't be too. Because it's going to be casting slightly. This is very natural, by the way. Even humans have a shadow being cast by the brow on top of the eye. And adding the shadow makes everything look a little bit more natural. See that? Now you see how that unifies a bit more? Makes sense, right? Good, 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 good. Alright. Let's throw in the lacrimal caruncle here. You paint like people solve Sudoku puzzles. I'm a technical painter, it's true. It's the only way I know how to. Yeah, a little bit of that highlight right there. Okay, so this transition makes sense. I want to add a little bit of highlight here. Why? Because that's where the zygomatic bone goes, the cheekbone, and we kind of expect it as artists, expect a little bit of it. I can add one layer of dimensionality here by adding in a slight highlight and shadow to indicate a little bit of that eyelid. Boom and boom. How's it going, Lions? Good to see you, dude. Arcanine's seen some days. Raising a kid ain't easy. Okay, and then a bit of that light for the zygomatic in there. Just so that's not too flat. Helping, right? Helping. There's a zygomatic arch in here, which goes a bit darker. Very typical for animals, including human beings. A bit of darkness back there helps a lot. You see how we're kind of building this up? Looking kind of cool, alright? Form shadow can be pushed slightly. So the big question about this is, where does this kind of terminate? Right? Where's up and where's down is the big question, right? Because we haven't really answered that question, right? I think we can say with some degree of certainty that this is down. So why am I saying these weird things? Why I'm saying this is because I want to figure out where to put my core shadows, okay? Because I could easily just say that's going to be my dark to this light, and I put a core shadow right over here, right? It's possible to say something like that, but the thing is I need to be consistent with my core shadows across, because this could just be a halftone, you see? Because basically what's happening there, and I can translate this for you, is I'm choosing between making that forehead look like this or look like this. Does that make sense? Because if it looks like this, it terminates at the halftone for vertical light, right? Halftone termination. But if it's like this, over here, it terminates after the core shadow, right? This is halftone, this is core shadow, and this is the middle of the shadow. So it terminates in your bounce light. So this is really what I'm talking about when I say that your values are going to determine how your forms are read. Okay, so it's not an easy decision to make, right? This is up to me, right? It's up to you in the chat. You're going to decide. Well, I'm going to decide, but you know, you get what I'm saying. This is a halftone value. It's a halftone value, and then that right below is going to be a shadow value, and that's how you make things look three-dimensional, man. It's not hard. It's not hard. It's not easy.
Fuck! I can't believe you've done this.
Well, that's the fundy right there, man. If you're ever wondering what the fundy is, that's the fundy right there. So, for example, and this is how you kind of show people what your mind is thinking, right? Like, if I was going to say that this bottom of the jaw over there, the lips are going to curve underneath, right? It's not going to go floppy outside, it's going to curve underneath. Then it's my responsibility to take this, get the shadow, saturate it, and put that saturated value underneath here to say, oh, it's curving underneath, right? That's my responsibility to do for you, to show you what the design is, right? So I can make that decision. And then you can understand, oh, wait a second, that's what's happening over there. So that's how you translate the form in your head to form in your painting. Very simple, but very important. Right? Everything else is just like blending and things like that. Sure, okay, fine, whoop-de-doo. But that's the fundamental there, the fundy fundamental. The occlusion there, dark, deep, saturated. Making a foam landscape would be interesting. Making a foam landscape, where'd that come from? But it would be interesting. Thanks, Inko Pinko. Love your name, by the way. Fantastic. Top notch. So from my experience drawing big poofy animals, right? I know that I'm not going to be able to see too much of this occlusion. Why is that? Because ideally I want to give a big little Joker smile here. Right, big Joker smile, big puppy poofer mouth. But I can't do that because of the fact that there's going to be fur covering most of that stuff. So a little bit of stuff on either side is sufficient at this particular epoch. And we can go deeper and more harsher into this idea later on. Okay. The teeth are currently not super well lit. Why? Because they're not lit at all, right? They have one value, makes them one-dimensional. So like I said, do not neglect anything, right? Don't neglect anything in your painting. So you can't just leave things as they are. So everything's going to get some amount of light from somewhere, right? Some amount of gradation from somewhere. So at least I can do is go and say, hey, maybe there's going to be a little bit of reflected light, right? And even that little amount helps, right? But really what I want to do here is give it a form shadow to really make it sing, right? So if, let's say this whole thing was in shadow, the whole thing was in shadow, that means that the little part that's going to be out is going to be in the light, which means that I'm going to have a little bit of form shadow around here, which gives those teeth a little bit of form. And this is the kind of thinking, man, that you got to go through, especially if you're not used to this kind of painting. That stuff, basically gold. And again, shadow down here, shadow down here. They make things look more realistic. Just don't neglect stuff. Boom. Now it lives. I'm thinking of saying foam. Thought you said foam as I was painting. Okay, I said form paintings. There you go. Hit it with a bit of highlight if you want to, because it looks sick. But that can be done, right? Look at those fangs now. Oof. Terrifying. Alright. So there's gonna get a half tone in here towards the front. But see how three-dimensional it's getting? No poof teeth then, no poof teeth then. So no head, so no poof painting. Not just now, Spectre. It's coming though. Oh, it's coming. Big, beautiful cast shadow down there. I'm gonna have to recast this stuff because it's getting a little bit lost in my brushwork. But hey, it happens. It happens. Not too worried about it. But you see the volume we're working to go over here? Just the sheer volume. And look at the volume right now. It's something special, right? And I want to point out just how it didn't take that much time to kind of fix, right? But look at the head right now. Oh, damn. That's some head right there. Alright, same thing over here. Remember, everywhere, you gotta be very particular. Why does this look weird? It looks weird because it just doesn't have any form to it. It's just a flat piece of lighting. So for me to put it there, it's like I just taped a little bit of paper to the side of its ear. So again, an ear is a cylindrical form. So I expect there to be a form shadow. I expect there to be a highlight because it curves away from my light source, right? So over here, very simple, halfway to black it, saturate a little bit, push towards the warm. I get that value, right? I say, oh, do I like that value? Do I not like that value? I don't know, right? Let's just try that. We'll put the value over here, bit of saturation, bit of red. Get that? And I just simply paint a cylinder, right? And already it looks like it fits more. I designed that shape I just did. I designed it better, so it's not just a band. Same thing on this side, right? You can really go as deep as you want to here. I designed that shape right over there, right? And same thing next. What's next? Add in a little bit of the highlight, right? A little highlight up here. Again, shape is important to kind of think about. But even that basic 2 or 3 strokes, right? Even that goes a long way to making that thing look like it stands, like it sings, like it belongs, right? Looks more realistic. I can't tell you with any degree of certainty. I'm going to keep that amount of brightness up there. But what I can tell you is that those little changes I just made, that was the initial, and that's what I just did. Like in 3 strokes, right now things look way more 3D. And that's the trick, right? There's no AO, right? There's no fancy drawing. It's just like a couple of strokes. I'm just working that area a little bit more. Very simple. Right? No blending or whatever, just strokes. The fun part of this. I'm curious, what inspired you to draw? I don't know, man. I always liked creating stuff. I like ideas. I like thinking about stuff. I like solving visual problems. I fancied myself a problem solver when I was younger, right? And that's why I became an engineer. Because I really wanted to build stuff because I had a lot of cool ideas. But going to engineering school and working as an engineer, I realized I didn't really like the way that I did stuff.
Fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
Right? I didn't like the way that I did stuff back then. Because the coding and the wiring and all that stuff, some of it was fun, but most of it I didn't like. I'm curious who inspired you to draw? Oh, then nobody. I just like drawing. I just like making cool stuff. Thanks, Joey, I appreciate that, dude. I'm sorry, reading's hard. There's going to be some subsurface scattering to this ear. A fun thing you can do for ears, right? Subsurface it. This is going to be a cast shadow. Let's push this slightly to halftone, right over there. So it's not so harsh in the ear region. That could be a good idea for internal ear value. I'd raise a little bit less crazily. But I can talk about some people that actively inspire me, like right now. There's some incredible people in the industry that I think definitely should be worth talking about. So for traditional art, my inspirations are definitely Nathan Fox, Definitely Cesar Santos. Definitely, what's his name? God damn it. Not Andrew Schmidt. Richard Schmidt, there you go. James Gurney for sure. Andrew Tischler for sure. Right, all of these guys incredible artists. I am inspired by people of old, for example. I love Duran, I love Sargent, Bouguereau, Velasquez, all these people, incredible artists. Rembrandt, those are people that I actively have studied in the past. I love slightly earlier contemporary painters, like Frazetta, for example. I think it's incredible. Of course, Mobius. Of course, the late and great Sid Mead, right? Craig Mullins. These are people that I actively always look for inspiration from. But those are my current kind of art idols. Of course, current industry professionals: James Park, Anthony Jones. Talk about your boy Cynics. Right, all these people I actually look up to as my inspirations. Have you painted with oils? Yes, I have. I know your process for digital, but just wonder. I painted with oils before, and my process is quite similar, actually. What's funny is that I stopped painting with oils almost 7 years ago, and I did very little painting in oils, but I did some. And then right after that, I took a huge break from all things art to work on my engineering career. And then when I came back, I just did digital. And only then did I really learn about all these fundamentals. So can I really say I've ever worked with oils? I don't think I can, if I'm going to be honest. Not with my understanding of art right now. I've never painted with oils with this kind of understanding. So I can't show you any work and say, hey, that's my work with oil, because I don't think it makes that much sense. An engineer in which area? Electrical and electronics, specializing in embedded systems. AO here, AO here. Everybody likes Frazetta. Frazetta is so good, man. He's such a personal inspiration to me because he was a beast of a man. He was a lifter, very physically fit, he was an athlete, and he was an artist, man. There's so many cool stories about Frazetta. Like whenever he draws a dynamic pose, he'd emulate the pose so much with his body movements that his own body would start to hurt just because of the sheer strain in him trying to evoke that movement in his own back or in his own arms. He'd feel physical strain. Just it's such a fun story. It's a funny little thing. Also in this area? Hell yeah, man. Don't leave it if you like it. I'm about to post. Hey, post up, Canvas. Post up. About Dave Johnson? He's not a bad artist, right? But I can't say I truly am inspired by any one person. That's just not how my mind works. In fact, a lot of the people that I was inspired by earlier were people from Twitch, right? It's just regular artists on Twitch. But something that Anthony Jones talks about all the time is that as you get better, your scope of influences gets higher and higher and higher. So you look for better idols all the time. So now my idols are usually just industry crazy guys. Both is fine, Canvas. Post it here, post it in Discord, I don't really mind. All up to you, dude. Remember, we have a lot of things that can help us draw stuff. So, for example, that's going to be a form shadow, foreshadow on the mouth, and it's also going to be bounce light on the underside, right? We bounce on the other side. That's going to be light, shadow, shadow, bounce light. Bounce is going to be desaturated, slightly warmer. Bit too bright, bit too bright, just about right. Okay. You didn't guess? Alright. Is it because he's handsome? I heard that he burned all his old sketches so everyone would think he was a master from day one. That sounds like Frazetta to me, man. What a champion. I have Anthony Jones 1 month mentorship, learned a ton from him. I think everybody that's taken AJ's course has had nothing but good things to say. That dude is such a good educator. He's incredible. You guys think I'm decent at explaining stuff? That guy is the champion at explaining stuff. Unbeatable guy. So good. playing around with the form here. I really should add more stuff from my references here. I'm just kind of enjoying just painting this as it is, but I should add more stuff from my reference. That would be a good idea. I'm just having fun playing around with shapes here. No, did you forget? B10? Oh, Ben 10. Right. Of course. How could I forget? What's this big thing happening over here, huh? Okay, it goes to the side and then to the center. Okay, I can understand that. To the side and then the center. Let's actually paint that in then. With big, large strokes. To the side and then the center. Okay. Side. It's gonna look more like that, I feel like, right? Fun. I kind of like how distinct those shapes are. I'm gonna put a bit more shape into my drawing, I think. That's gonna be a little bit fun. Bit more shapes in there. So I'm just using selection tool to kind of grab some stuff here. I'll paint in with some brushwork in a second here. But just gonna grab some stuff. I think that'll make it look a bit cooler. Also like how it's kind of separated into two different folds. So let's try and do that on our own painting, okay? So this side is gonna go a little bit darker. And then this side over here is gonna get a little bit brighter because of the way the everything kind of falls on itself. This is how I make really like small changes on my canvas with just selection tool. So it gives me enough of a raw material to kind of figure out how I want to do stuff. There, over there, over there. Gives me a little bit more form, right? Fun. Let's see what canvas has. Nice canvas, very nice. Very fun stuff. Love all the texture work. Very fun, very fun. This canvas work right there. Look at all that texture work right there. We'll zoom in. So cool. Very nicely done. I'd be a little bit careful about the edges, but this area is pretty solid. Nice. Remember, if it's going to shift towards the left, it's going to be a shift in the values. Just like that.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
Marco, thanks dude. And also, it's I think worth considering that when you put highlights on a piece, be a little bit careful about just how heavy-handed it is, because it's not going to be an equal highlight everywhere, right? We talked about how highlights actually work on pieces, but it's going to be much more like that, you see? How that kind of fits a bit better with the piece. Because everything kind of has a small amount of gradient to it. So, even that light source is going to have a little bit of stuff like that. It's going to go from slightly less light to a little bit lighter to slightly less light again. And that's how you ensure that things actually look like they fit a bit more naturally on the piece. It's a little bit of an internal check you can do for yourself. I'm not quite sure how much I like those eyes. What is the color of its eyes? What is that? Brown? Huh. I don't actually know. Well, let's just pick something that works for the canvas, right? So these eyes should stand out from red. The complementary color, blue, would be nice. Let's try it out. Hue shift it. You know what? I need to actually do something first. I need to collapse my layers. So again, we're repainting this, right? So here's how far we've gotten. From there to there. I mean, that's a pretty significant difference, right? Technically from here to this. Fun, right? Okay, we're collapsing now though. Change the hue, make it a bit more blue. I'm gonna see what that looks like. I'm gonna go hold out on my earlier save and catch a few hours of sleep. Hey, don't worry about that, man. Have a good one, dude. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe a bit of blue, maybe a bit of red. I'm gonna think about this for a second. We'll just leave it as right about there for right now. I think that's fine. Can I look at a lion's eye? What do I want to grab from there? I really love how that looks. I'm sacrificing identity of the Pokemon, but that looks so, like, I love the eyes on lions. So beautiful. Small little cat iris. But Arcanine's based on a dog, right? So I guess it wouldn't make too much sense. But let's just semi-cartoonify the eye. Again, add in the cornea. Maybe reduce the size of that little highlight. Okay. Remember, everything reacts with the change of the light. We're gonna get a bit more warmness on the bottom of this, but again, warmness being relative, so I select that value over there, that color, I head warmer, head more saturated, and get this value over here. Gives me a good amount of color, right? Good amount of color variance. I'm gonna do a similar thing for the nose. I think that's a hint of red over there. A little bit of boost of red there. Just because I want to add some more saturation. A bit more warmness. That really helps. How crazy are these guys' ears to begin with? Oh, they are kind of crazy, okay. I was gonna actually shave them down. But I want them to be a little bit more strong with silhouette. I'm gonna erase some of the hair around there. Again, the drawing needs to be nice and strong. Okay, so the bottom side of the ear looks a little bit weak to me from the initial drawing. Let's actually fix that up. So what are we saying, by the way? What are we saying by making these dark? We're saying that the entire ear is being tilted downwards. Remember, just because it is being tilted downwards does not give us the right to say that we're not going to work this area, right? We don't have that right. We still have to ensure that everything gets an appropriate amount of light. So that's going to get bounce light down there. Bounce light and a bit of ambient occlusion. So a bit of ambient occlusion here, on the lip of the ear. Right there and right there. Right? And a little bit of bounce light down there. Bounce is going to be here. Let's say warmer, lighter. That's how we make it look a little bit more like it fits on the canvas. I'm painting a background for animation, and it's a pain working on multiple layers because I need to separate for parallax, and it fucks up my flow. I can relate to your pain for sure. My sympathies, my friend. I don't know why this got really blue for some reason, but it doesn't really matter. We can fix it up quickly with some slight little paints. Now we have some beautiful red ears. Very nice. There's gonna be AO on these teeth, by the way, on both sides. AO is gonna go. There's a bit of darkness around the teeth. This should be pretty clear to guys that have seen the previous stream about painting cylinders.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
Alright, should be pretty straightforward. I'm gonna add a little bit of this darkness, like a bit of a chamfer darkness near the tip of the eyes, just as a transitioning value, right? No real reason, just besides stylistic choice here. Let me grab a brush for this. That's fine. Thanks, Grubby. Ooh, that's a little bit harsh, don't you think? A little bit spiky, my boy. Something else then. Something else I want to point out is that things over here might be a little bit monochromatic. I might want to consider like adding different shades to the fur to make things more interesting, more realistic. Because fur is not just one color, right? Fur is a multitude of colors. So I might want to consider just changing the hue of certain areas to make it look a little bit more interesting. Because otherwise we get stuck in a bit of a monochromatic area. Like for the Charizard that we did, right? For our Charizard, everything's a bit too orange, I feel like. Alright? And you can solve the problem a little bit by making your shadows and your ambient light a little bit more saturated. But I want to not fall into the same problem, right? So it's an active consideration in my mind. Again, highlights need to be somewhat consistent across the piece. Otherwise it tends to raise some question marks. And you got the shadows in there. You can actually go a little bit lighter, I feel like. You don't need to be that saturated. Let's go ahead and lower that a little bit. How do I lower it? A few ways. You can use adjustment layer, or you can just simply grab a value and airbrush it. Totally fine, up to you. Just to make sure things aren't too harsh. It's very often times you'll find in paintings that we work better with trying to figure out differences in areas, but most of the time we paint the difference a little bit too harshly, right? So it's always good to kind of think about, once you figure out that something needs to be different, sort of manage that difference. Think about how much you really need to show darkness in an area. How much do you really need to show lightness in an area? I don't think when you first start it's a big problem, but once you're able to get good contrast, one of the issues you'll find is that you always paint things in high contrast. And that's just a very limited kind of way of thinking about pieces, right? Everything doesn't need to be in high contrast. So it's a good consideration to consider. Just kind of wrap your mind around. It's that maybe I want to just test out some different things right now. Maybe I want to just test out a bit more subtlety right now. Right now what I'm doing is I'm adding in a little bit more hard strokes, just to give myself a good amount of variance. I want to have some harder elements in my piece, just to have something to chew on while I work. Some nice hard shapes in between. Always kind of good to add. Because in terms of a general appeal of your work, people do like differences. Differences are kind of the lifeblood of most pieces, because the interest in paintings comes mostly from what is different, right? Now that difference must be kind of interspersed in between things that are the same, right? And that's just the principle of unity with diversity, very common design principle. But you need to have things that are different. That's what really drives a good painting. So you can have differences in value, which is what we call simply contrast, but there's so many more things like color contrast, edge contrast, right? Just compositional contrast. There's so many things you can kind of play around with. And that's what creates an interesting piece. So whenever you guys give me pieces to crit, right, and you just say make it better, that's generally what I do. I did a few of those pieces yesterday for our major crit stream, and that's really what I did. Because you're in the red, orange, violet, you could choose green as your key color to make the eyes pop. I think that's a great idea, actually. Yeah, definitely. We could definitely use a green there. I don't think it's a bad idea whatsoever. Let's try it out since it was just suggested. I don't mind. Where's my colorize? Just gonna give it a quick. This is not gonna be the permanent fix, but just for me to see it myself. Bit of green in there. That's maybe too heavy-handed. Let's be honest. Let the saturation make it darker. This is the distance that I will evaluate it with. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea whatsoever. We might do that. Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion. Thank you. That'll work. So when I go back to the eyes, we'll do that. I'm gonna add some AO here. Over here and over here. Bit more AO to kind of give things a bit more spatial awareness. Hey, cheers, buddy. Oh, he always helps. I'm not quite sure what this is doing here. I think that's supposed to be a cast shadow somewhere. I think I've just like neglected it so that it doesn't make any sense right now in the painting. But we can just paint around it, it's fine. I'm just gonna assume that's a cast shadow. And we'll move on with our lives. What's up with his leg, huh? There's some interesting things happening here. What do I want to say with that leg? Is it straight on or is it not? I'm gonna say it's a straight with a bend at the knee. Okay, which means we get a highlight here. Push this value warmer and lighter. We have a highlight value right there. Same thing down here. Is that leg a fist? I don't even know what it is, man. I don't even know right now. Your guess is as good as mine, my friend. I'm gonna lighten this whole thing up, I feel like. I have a very hard time making the lasso tool work for me. Maybe I'm not skilled enough for it, it makes my shapes look stiff. I think the major thing is to not think about the lasso tool as your one-stop solution. The lasso tool is just to kind of get me closer to what I want, to kind of get an instant kind of relief kind of feeling of saying, hey, that's what my shape's going to be. But really, beyond that, it's not meant to like solve your shape issues. It's just to kind of speed through it a little bit. Okay. So once you kind of have a rough idea of what your shape's supposed to be with your lasso tool, go back in there, and then paint everything out perfectly. You know, paint around it. Don't just use the lasso tool and just the lasso tool, right? Kind of just modify things for your own purposes. So it's not meant to just solve your problems. Yeah, it's a very common issue, like stuff like round brush, for example. People talk to me about that all the time. They're like, oh, the round brush looks a bit too soft, what's happening there? But really the question is, it's just very simple. It's just the idea that you shouldn't be using it in isolation. That's all it is. It's a multitude of things that makes it look good. So think about that whole package. The selection's always going to look a bit too harsh because the edges are way too crazy for that to make any sense in your painting. Right, so you're just going to use the directness of the selection tool to draw shapes basically, but then you're going to manipulate those shapes with just regular brushes. Right, otherwise it'll be a pain to just always be so specific and stuff. But you see what I did with this painting over here when I first did my selection tool usage? I grabbed big shapes, but I was really indeterminate with them because I was going to go back in there with my brush and then manipulate them. It's just to get a much kind of quicker idea down on the can. That's all it's for. Okay. This can go lighter and more pinker. I have semi-airbrush that goes into sharp round with pressure. Semi-airbrush that goes into a sharp round with pressure. Is that a good beginner brush? Sounds okay to me, yeah. If you're comfortable with it, I think it's a good beginner brush. If you're comfortable with it, I think it's fine. Any brush that you're comfortable with, it should be fine for your purposes. These darks are a little bit too dark, so I'm gonna pull them up a little bit. Always gotta be aware of this. How much dark do I really need over there? Can you do an airbrush as well? Gonna fix that problem. Just quickly kind of brush over and reduce that contrast if I need to. I just heard a lot of beginners use airbrush from the start and I don't want to be a big noob. Well, if your work looks airbrushy, I'll ask you to stop using it. But if your work is just fine, I don't really mind what you use, right? Like anything's good to me. This is my halftone value here. Halftone around. You good then? There you go. You're fine. See, for example, I'm going to use selection tool right now, so if you want, you can just look at how I use it. So I just use it to grab space, basically. So like that. And so maybe I don't like the way that looked, because it wasn't really what I wanted. So maybe I'll go back. But the thing is, it's a very kind of quick way of getting exactly the shape I want to, without having to upset the rest of my piece. Let's just say I design something like that, okay, and I'll stick with it. Right, on this side. So once I'm happy with that, basically, I'm gonna go back in there, maybe make it a bit harsher, and then I just repaint over it until it makes more sense in the context. Right over there, give it a bit of foam shadow on the bottom, and already it's almost fully integrated. Right, but it has to be worked a little bit, otherwise it'll just be too one-dimensional. And that's why I love selection, because it gives me that liberty of just grabbing shapes. Real simple, but real effective. And that's really why it's used so heavily in the industry, because people really, they see the change they want, but this takes too many steps to just manually make the change with brushes. And of course it's preferential, because if you work with a lot of layers, you can just do it with layer manipulation as well, not a big deal. But it's my way of just preventing myself from disrupting my canvas, because I paint on one layer. Cheers, Melon. Thank you so much for hanging out. Very much appreciated. Have a good night. I know we're in the same time zone. Affecting those edges a little bit here. A little stuff like that. Pushing a peak value up here. To look a bit more complete. Again, everything is consistent now. It's consistently putting this lighting on here. Not really happy with that leg, but we're gonna handle that soon. Shoulder. Could use a little bit of muscle on it, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I want to like render this more like a circle, or a sphere rather. So up there and then down here. That standard deltoid shape. Maybe a little bit more subtle than what I just did, but I think that's gonna work a bit better here. Get a bit more form, you know? Seems a little bit high for the shoulder, actually. I wonder what I was thinking when I drew this. I'm following my original drawings, like, proportioning, but that one seems a little bit awkwardly positioned. Oh, we'll keep it, I guess. We'll keep it. I don't fully know if I knew what I was doing back then, but... Definitely need more AO back here, though. Definitely need more AO. Again, a really good place to use airbrush. I'm sorry, use selection tool. Because I get to direct my AO a bit stronger. Again, light coming from the top now. Change where I have my highlight. I'm gonna go across. There's gonna be some bounce light now. So if that's the core shadow right there. That's the core shadow. There's gonna be some bounce light just to round out the form. Oh, bounce that's gonna be warmer. That'll be mostly in AO, so I don't really mind. I'll keep the darkness over there just so that the hair on the smaller doggo is a little bit more clear. Alright. Back leg. Gonna be mostly in darkness. We light that with bounce light. I'm gonna show a little bit of the belly here with a bit of bounce green. Bit of that chest in there. Can show a bit of the form of the pec muscle as well, going to the arm maybe. That might be too much. Bring it back up here, that's fine. I noticed you were drawing Arcanine and the lower evolution. I haven't played Pokemon in a long while, neither have I, if I'm going to be honest. But it's a really fun thing to kind of paint it because the forms are quite simple. It's a great little test. Great little test to see how well you have your form knowledge in place. That's actually why I did it earlier, the first time I painted this. This is my second time painting the same painting, since I've gained a lot of experience since then. I really wanted to put that to the test. That's going a lot better than it was before. This is my... do I have my original? That's my original. Right there. So right now I think we've come some way as an artist since then. And here's some other ones that I've drawn recently. Really fun. I thought about drawing Pokemon for a while now. I just love their shapes. They're fun, man. They're fun. Really simple shapes, simple design. Hey, cheers to Respawn. You didn't see nothing yet. Because we're still just handling the values here. Let me do the blue shift on this one. Promised somebody that I would. You got more into the sit side. Not disagreeing, man. I figured it was a good way to learn values too. For sure, anything that's like basically form, just simple forms is going to be a great test for your values.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
Thanks, Sax. Appreciate that, dude. Green and dark. Somebody in the chat said, give him green eyes. I'm just dabbling to see what looks nice. I like that. That's cool. Ooh, that's kind of fun. Looks a little bit like Hulk Smash, but maybe not exactly that. Maybe not exactly that, but something like that, right? It kind of pains me to solve this by just a slider, and trust me, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just testing it, alright? I'm just testing it. That's all we're doing right now. We're just testing what it looks like. I swear I'll straight paint this. I think that's a little bit better. Green eyes, Craigasm. Alright. Let's just paint over this now. I may be a bit biased. Do you have green eyes, Smash? I do like green eyes though. I envy people with colored eyes. I love green. Not a bad color to love, I think. I think it's always pretty cool. Green and blue, for sure. Bit of unification involved right now, so I'm just gonna quickly paint over. This green goes towards the warm because the main light test is warm. So push it warmer, more saturated, get this color, test it out. Oh, nice. Very fun. Got really blue eyes, but I'd love to have green hazel. We had a big discussion on my channel about what hazel actually was, and I still don't know, if I'm going to be completely honest. And there are going to be people in the chat right now that are going to get really mad because it's just not going to make any sense to me. There we go, green eyes, huh? Not too bad. Some mixing involved here. The pink goes into the green through desaturation, creating a bounce light of gray right over there. Green always reminds me of the Hunger Games. Hunger Games is a good series, yeah. There's some artwork for that series. I did read the first book, not much past that though. It's kind of fun. So thanks for the suggestion, whoever did that for the green eyes. I don't think it looks bad at all. Definitely looks more interesting than the other one that I had in here. Let's add one layer additional of warmer, lighter, and more saturated. And add these little specky specks. Ooh, fun. Like blue with brown, I believe. I think I've seen them, so I know what they look like. It's just the descriptions, like I can't visualize them. That actually might be it, Clearsy, because there's different types, right? Anyway, any colored eyes are pretty eyes to me. I'm stuck with some boring old brown eyes. And some lights look like they're black. Like a shark that just sniffed blood. That's just how it be sometimes. Got like eyes like a leopard seal. Darkest down there. There we go. Nice and warmy. Brown eyes are very nice too, especially with dark hair. I got dark hair, something I always wanted to. I think most people tend to want a feature they don't have. Grass is always greener, right? Grass is always greener. I'm blonde with blue eyes, so I always end with brown hair and brown eyes. Okay, listen, if they ever get like a transplantation surgery, we can swap, alright? I'll be a willing donor. We're gonna give him a bit of puffiness in the cheeks, okay? So a bit of poofiness in the cheeks. Eat chunk. This transition's a little bit too harsh there, mister. What are you doing? I'm just rendering like a mini sphere. Like a mini sphere around the maw right there. Just to give it a little bit of a... No, a little bit of a nub. You know what I'm talking about. It's actually on the people as well. On the people, wow, it's actually on people as well. Because the muscle that kind of moves your mouth, that's called the orbicularis oris muscle. And on the side of your oris muscle, there are two nodes. You can kind of feel them. You know? You can feel them in the side of your mouth, because I'm doing it right now. You can feel those muscles right there. The nodes of your mouth. It's a very important landmark for portrait painting. Noses are dark but glossy. So we've got to paint dark and glossy. How do we do that? Mostly paint it like a matte object, but the speculars, they go crazy. Think about that transition, would you? Is it really going to transition like that? Probably going to be a bit hairier, right? And go a little bit of a ziggity zaggity. That stuff we shouldn't really be bothered about right now, because that's like more of a detail thing, but I mean, eventually we're going to bother about it, right? Eventually it's going to be a problem. Little things like that. Hey, where do you put texture on a piece? You put texture on the piece near the halftone, right? So let's put some texture near the halftone. Because we did all that shape stuff, right? We did all that value stuff, and now we get to kind of reap the rewards of all that work. We get to detail the halftone area. And that's how you tell people what you're all about. This is where you make your mark. Really doesn't make a big difference, by the way. Halftone texture really adds a bunch to the piece. I'm just painting it manually almost here, because I want it to be a bit more graphic, but you can do whatever you want. But if you don't want to draw every individual little bit of fur, this is how you get away with it. With the halftone. I'm gonna throw a bit of bounce light on there. I don't think it makes too much sense. It's not really downward facing. I will neglect to do that. Again, over here, the hair is going to be a lot shorter, more bristly, so I'll change the way I transition that into this brush over here. My shorter, more bristly brush. It does help to have painted animals before, because I'm pulling a lot of internal knowledge here from all of my numerous studies of lions, tigers, and dogs. I kind of already remember what I've used in certain areas to capture those kind of looks. It does help me a little bit here. Not too much, but a little bit. Deeper and redder. Let's see if you can smooth this out, and I want to see what it looks like. I don't think I like that to be so, like, almost randomly grainy for some reason. Can we clean that up and see what that looks like? Let's look at it. Is that an improvement? To a certain degree, yeah. I think it's a bit harsh, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. I think I want to lower that value overall. I'm sorry, increase the value overall. But I do think I like it a little bit more solid. I'll unify it a bit more with some airbrush. That fits a bit better. Okay. There are some areas of ambient occlusion here that I'm going to push. So we push these areas over here, here and here. Because again, it's kind of preventing light from entering those shadows there, even more than usual. I'm going to push that AO with just a selection tool and a single brush stroke a little bit, and then I integrate it a bit more with some additional brush strokes. It's going to give me a bit more kind of spatial ideas. You'll see this on fur all the time when you do your fur studies, but it kind of gives the fur a bit more order, because you don't want to just be painting random balls of fluff. You actually want to think about what the structure is. So these kind of strokes really help me out to ensure that I actually am painting something that makes some amount of sense, and not just like random amounts of fur. It doesn't really take that much time to integrate these changes, and it does make a lot of difference to the piece. Is this Coral Painter? It is not. It is Krita, K-R-I-T-A. Free program. Right there. Easy enough. I don't want to blur some of these edges, make them a little less clear, just to give myself a good amount of like edge variance in my piece. Some of the stuff can be slightly defocused. And this is also one of the little tricks that I do to make my things look a little bit more poofy, is I will defocus certain edges. You don't want to do this too much, because it can definitely be too much sometimes. But it's something you can kind of use a little bit more to up the poof factor on your work. bit more darkness in the areas of occlusion. I want to bring these teeth a little bit more into the foreground. So we're gonna go ahead and cast the teeth a bit stronger. We'll throw in a small little cast shadow / contact shadow right there. Simple enough. And I'll add a bit more of a stronger shadow on top as well, but this is going to be a bit more contextual to the teeth itself. Something like that, maybe. A bit more desaturated. And I'll add in a contact shadow on the very bottom of the muzzle. And that'll give me a good separation for the teeth. Very simple changes, but they do what we need them to do. On this side, we can make this whole area kind of light. Again, to just make it a bit more clear about what's going on. Same thing on this side, make that area a bit darker, because the lighting is slightly skewed. That's how I'm going to bring those teeth a little bit clearer. Now, too clear is actually a problem. That was fine. That's a fine change. The last change I'm actually going to undo. Those very last two changes, I actually don't need them. I think the cast shadows are just perfectly fine. That's okay to get a read. Just a little bit of cast shadow there and we're good. Cast shadow, contact shadow, and we're fine. Again, near the shadow, near the contrast areas, is where we're going to add most of our little details. We're not going to be drawing like individual strands of fur or anything, but in the outside contour, a few strands are fine. Of course, near these areas of contrast, we're going to add a lot of that detail. Right there, good enough. Again, I have the full rights to kind of like just make this a little bit more poofy by just adding more of a form shadow right there as a half tone technically, but you can add more of that stuff if I want to bring something more or less into the light, out of the light. Again, your values are just trying to convey to the viewer how things are built, how things are located in space. It's the only purpose. Gonna bring a bit more shadow in here, silhouette the hair a little bit stronger. I'll play with the hair a bit more to make sure that it's not super graphic like that. Add a few more elements to kind of unify the design maybe. Have a brush maybe. And play around with the edge. I'll still maintain the overall shape of it, but nothing stops me from just like tinkering with the edge. And make it a bit more unified. Little things like that really help. Help kind of sell the idea. Rowlet over here. Make some quick changes to him. Light on the top. Light on the top. I don't really like the way he's drawn, if I'm going to be honest. I think I should really change that, but since I don't think that's in the scope of the speech right now, we're not going to. It's just a simple repaint, right? So I'm not changing too much stuff here. But we'll change the eye to be a bit more green. Nothing stops me from just like sampling colors from the top guy. I'm just putting it in here. Pretty simple so far. Okay, relighting time. So again, I can push my peak values a bit more. Give this guy more form. Again, that's going to be in the light. I'm going to grab a halftone value. Over there. So this is actually going to curve almost completely away from the light, so we can use that to our advantage here by putting a highlight across. Grab the highlight value across the entire surface. Alright. Again, no form change without value change. So being very particular what we're doing here. Add a little bit of a mask on top of the eye. And of course that mask needs to have a corresponding highlight to it. In this case a matte highlight, or a matte specular. Okay. The ear is going to have a darkness to it, on the very bottom. Right over there. Of course light on the top, but this light is not going to be alone, because it needs to be substantiated by additional values for the form. Right over there, for example. Not too much subsurface scattering here. I can add a little bit of it. That's fine. This maw shape currently is indicating that the maw is kind of rounding quite suddenly, I feel like. Which is not necessarily a bad thing. Do I have a reference for Growlithe? I don't think I do. Okay, well, let's just fix the nose for a second here while I ponder this. Gonna make the nose a bit larger because it's a little puffer. Grab a dark. Push that dark on both sides. Think about this for a second. Overhead lighting. The front half of this nose is going to get lighter value. Push the value lighter by a little bit. It could be lighter or warmer. Keeping it mostly decent. Across the ridge of the nose, across the front. That's how that's going to be. So again, this is actually going to turn around and be darker on this side. And maybe one additional push of value I think is appropriate here. There we go, much better. Nice. Okay, so these form shadows not exactly what I had in mind. I feel like it doesn't cast exactly that way. Can still deal with it though. It's not completely out of the ordinary. It's not completely crazy, but I can't say I'm the biggest fan of it. I'll leave it here for the time being. We'll see what the overall presentation is like, and then I'll make a judgment call. Again, the mask on the mouth there. A bit more sensible now. It's going to be mostly horizontal. Like that. I'm going to get a little bit of light on this side because it does turn around a bit here. Get a bit of light there. Everything reading okay so far. Don't forget the highlights on the nose. Very simple. Bit of highlight right there. So again, just the simple idea that we're kind of expounding on this particular piece is just that you can't leave things without their fundamental lighting characteristic. Don't ever leave something flat. Right? There's no good reason to. Big, large, flat shadows. They need to be worked a little bit on pieces, right? I think it's possible as an illustrating, as like an illustrative style to have large, like just pure valued shadows, but even those have a lot of work being put into the design of it and into the edge of it, right? A lot of work is being put into exactly what that thing should look like. It's not underworked at all. It's not just a flat thing. So I think it's important to just try and figure that out, right? So don't leave things flat on the canvas. Really consider. If it's flat, is there a really good reason for it to be flat? Because otherwise you might be missing a free opportunity to kind of show a little bit of form change, right? Again, going back to that adage we keep talking about, there cannot be any sort of form change without there being a corresponding value change. There has to be something of that nature, right? Because that's just one of the really important tools for visual clarity. Unless you have a good reason not to, don't do it. I feel like this hair is going to cast a little bit on the head, right? Let's make sure the design on this is a little bit better. I'm going to push that forward maybe. And maybe I'll prevent him from having like a receding hairline. Push this a bit more forward. And let's just say that as it goes closer and closer to his head, it goes more and more curved. Because again, going back to what we're talking about, right? If I'm going to put a dark over there, what am I saying, right? Because it's not an easy decision. Again, I'm saying that if there's going to be a dark there, it's going to curve like this into the head. It's curving like that, and then this is where the forehead kind of pops out. So light, light, and this is going to be slightly less light. If I put a dark there, it means that this is happening. Right, so if, well, not really that, but this. So light's coming from that way. So these are going to be equally light, and this is going to be quite dark. So everything is going to be determined by how you see this in space. No body positivity for people with receding hairlines. I have a receding hairline. I don't think it's bad. I just don't think the Growlithe, being a young tyke, is going to have it, you know? That's all I'm saying, alright? No negativity meant. Calm down, Mac. Put the gun down. There you go. Again, bounce light down here. Gonna be lighter, desaturated. That's my logic for bounce light in the piece. And down here, just a little bit of AO. Now, does everything need to be clear on the piece? Not really, right? It doesn't need to be super clear. It's just good if it is. If you have the option to make it so, you can make it so and then make a call on whether or not you need to keep it. But some areas you just want to lose, right? You want to lose some areas. Like everything detailed is a bad idea. But I think for me right now, since this is a form painting exercise, I just make everything clear because I think it's important for me to run it through my mind, if I even can do that, right? So when I'm doing a full, complete illustration, then I'll be like, okay, I can do whatever I want. But this is more like a training piece, right? So I want to be sure that I can. Again, I think I should be a bit more aware of my shapes. So again, I got a crit from Cynics that was basically that, right? It's like I'm putting the lights and stuff in the right place, but I could be a little bit more aware of my shape, and I think he's completely right. I've almost abandoned the idea of shapes when I started doing concept style pieces, but I really need to bring it back because I do think it's really important and I shouldn't be missing it. Again, this whole situation is easy to debug, right? It's just like a sphere almost. So again, it's going to have a light side on this side with a little bit of cast shadow in there. Sphere, it's going to be light on this side. And again, don't be afraid of doing this kind of big changes, right? It's totally fine, man. Totally fine. You gotta trust that you know what you're doing. Remember how bad this looked when you first painted it? So, like I said, just painted primitives. Easy way of living life. That's your dark value. This is my halftone here. He already doesn't look that bad. Looks like he's wearing a fur bib, but it's not bad. It just needs a bit of work. But we're almost there already, right? And it took like, what, 3 seconds? That's just the nature of the game, man. If you don't know what you're looking for, you won't be afraid of changes like that. And that's just why I really encourage people to just work as much as you can. Because the more pieces you kind of problem solve like that, the more confidence you get. And it's such a crazy, like, snowball-y train, you know? Like, once you get into that kind of work ethic, it's scary how much progress you can make. But a lot of people, I feel like, they stop a little bit short of that like confidence level, right? But really, if you just push a little bit harder, if you haven't already, you'll get into this weird stride where no mistake's ever going to irk you, and it's just going to be pure progress, and it's fantastic to kind of catch that stride. Because that's when you really become the artist that you're destined to be, you know? A fun little area of art. Because when you don't do things as often, what tends to happen is you can get kind of caught up on how things look and things that just don't really matter. There's going to be bounce on this guy. A lot of bounce right over here. So again, the bounce light cannot, under any circumstance, it cannot challenge my main light. Just something approximately there, but remember, it's still a light source, right? So one of the big characteristics of light sources is the simple fact that it's going to get lighter the closer or the more directly it's affected. So the planes that are pointing directly down are going to get a little bit more light and a little bit more saturation from that light source than the other planes. So maybe the plane right underneath the mouth over here, maybe that one's going to be getting a little bit more light. Right down there. Possible, right? I think we can believe that. Maybe a plane right underneath here, the jaw, will get a bit more light. So this kind of thing we got to play around with. Right? And of course, if it doesn't look good, then we just scrap it, right? But most of the time, we're trying to make sense of this whole situation. Again, edges are really important. So even if this is a very simple shadow, the edges are going to be really, really important. One of the greatest artists of all time, Sargent, talked about the value of a shadow, and he said, you better be careful. You better be careful, I'm paraphrasing of course, about the nature of the edge of that area of shadow. That's going to tell the viewer everything about the material. I'm just making a decision of whether or not I want to have that nose really curve away from the light source. I think I'll keep it like this. I think I prefer that contrast. Remember, we're not really painting things realistically. That's a little bit of a lie. We're really using realistic tools to show what we want to show. So really, painting something like accurately doesn't always lead to a good painting. So some amount of artistic liberty is always taken. Also, there should be some foreshortening. The other side. Always draw through. Raul's got some weird old purple eyeliner around his eyes. Let's maybe clean that up a little bit. Looks a little bit weird, I'm not gonna lie. He's going through a phase. Clean that up slightly. I think that's from his previous eyes. That's before we hit him with the LASIK surgery. Alright, let's grab some red from his dad. Or mom, you know. I haven't decided yet. I think my eye color is like muddy water. Poo water, if you will. There we go. The light showing off his telltale poetic skills. I was about to type it's not a phase, mom. I said phase. There you go. You know that phrase, great minds think alike? And the continuation of the phrase, which is fools seldom differ. I'll let you decide which one we are. I'm a fool? Then I'm a fool too, line. Depends what day you catch me. I'd say, yeah, to be, that's completely alright. I think I believe that for sure. Hit him with that juicy highlight, man. That juicy nostril highlight. That's what we look for, man. That's what I look for in a man. The juicy highlight on the nostril. Get flexed on. Alright. A little bit of that. Again, the transition between the light and the dark is a realm where you really get to show your caliber as an artist. Really show your intelligence in that transition zone. You continue here. You're getting a little bit too light, mister. I think you need to calm down. Because again, you can't put lights on light. Like, you gotta like reserve some value sometimes. Don't get too crazy. That can get light over there. Yeah, that's okay. But again, remember, every light, every value you put in an area is kind of telling your viewer about something. You got to be a little bit sure about what you're doing. For example, over here, a little bit of a change right there gives me more context about the roundness of the tip of the snoot. Tells me that the snoot's a bit rounder. So again, it's worth kind of reserving your value slightly, so we get to make those pushes when we need them. Because if everything is light, nothing is light. If everything is dark, nothing is dark, right? And if everyone's super, no one will be. Bit of light here. I should probably get a grounded reference because I'm basically painting in the dark right now. I have no idea what this Pokemon looks like. I'm just doing whatever I want right now, I'm gonna be honest. I'm sure it's been asked again, but is that just a modified creator preset brush? This? What I'm using right now? That's a brush from Concept and Illustration. Can I show you my brush selector? It's that brush from Concept and Illustration. It's a free brush pack. You can grab it if you want. All the stuff that I use on stream is usually free. I pull out my big boy commission brushes when I get commissions, because they do a lot of the work for me, if I'm gonna be honest. Did you just quote The Incredibles? No, I would never. I think I have some sort of syndrome. All right. Get a light on the top. Oh shit, I was supposed to do an evaluation for somebody. Somebody submitted the homework. Okay, we gotta finish this up pretty quickly then. Because I gotta give somebody a critique on their homework. Anybody else doing the homework, by the way? The 6 cylinders, 6 cubes, 6 spheres homework? Because I need to actually check somebody's homework right now. What is up with these goddamn feet? James, what were you thinking? What were you thinking in December, man? Are you kidding me right now? He's got those goddamn, like, cartoon elephant feet. What is this? What? What am I supposed to do with that? Is this really in the original? Oh no. No. Ah, fuck me. Alright, I just gotta draw it. Come on, man. It's like waking up to like your drunk self's mess. And I gotta clean this shit up. I thought they were hidden the talk. Alright, you know what, Lemonade? You're absolutely right, man. You couldn't be more right now. They are super hidden in the grass. Holy shit. Holy shit, are they hidden. Right? Forget about this reference. We're done with that. Out of here. Big brain plays. That's like a modern problems requires modern solutions right there. Good job, dude. Expect you checking the mail. Right now it looks like the earth is absorbing his feet right now. That's fine. Look at those. What are those? Yeah, I'm only doing that because I need to finish this right now. Because I gotta get going soon, guys. The boys gotta leave. I gotta go play some games because I haven't done that in a dog's age. And I also have bedtime. Otherwise I get cranky. Well, for real though, I really want to sleep when I can because my semester, or my term, you guys know what my sleep schedule was, right? So, I'm sure you understand. Some bounce light here. His feud looks... Mac. His foot looks amputated. Oh my goodness. Not wrong though, not wrong. Big true from me. Growlithe is just growling out of the ground, growing out of the ground. There you go. Big true. You know what, guys? Let me tell you about some 5-dimensional chess strategies. Alright? This is 5D chess right here. Boom. Right? Intentional piece. Do not steal. Fully intentional. What games? Gonna play Terraria with my buddies. Because we play Terraria every year. And this is the only chance I get to play it this year. We have like 500 hours in that game right now because we played every single year. And we played for like 100 hours. Do you have a pillow yet? No, I don't. I told you, I don't need one. I'm fine. I literally don't have one. My landlord came into my room yesterday and they literally asked me, where's your pillow? Are you hiding it? And I said, I don't have one. And I had to hang my head like in shame, like I was poor. Which technically I am because art school is extremely expensive. But we don't talk about that. But if you want to sub, hey, you know, I'm not stopping you. Terraria, yeah, they got their last update. Feels good, man. Last Terraria update. But I do not have a pillow yet, sorry. I'm just doing fine without them. I had 1 day of like neck pains in the entire term. And that was mostly because of how I was sitting. It wasn't because of my my pillow. Listen, man, maybe this pillow idea that you're espousing so much, you know, that you're so advocating for, maybe it's just you've been brainwashed to think that you need it. Maybe you don't need it. Maybe it's been a conspiracy all along from Big Comfort to make you think that you need pillows. I'm literally making a sausage right now. I need to change my rendering for this. Have you heard about Twitch Prime? What is Twitch Prime? Tell me about it. When you need a pillow? Who needs a pillow when you have arms? It's true. I got some sick ass arms. Which are growing smaller by the day because of the fact that I have no way to properly train them. And I'm getting increasingly worried that doing pull-ups off of the side of my roof is shredding my arms, and not in a good way. Like it's literally like it's biting marks into my hands, which is no bueno. You all right there? You can't say those kind of things over here? What did I say? People are listening? Alright. I mean, if you said it, I guess it's true. Nobody listens to what I have to say, man. You just come here to stare at me. Look at how poofy we made this piece, though. We really upped the poof factor on this by a high margin. The poof stocks have been raised significantly. Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Fair points, fair points. The back is just basic circle rendering. There are patterns on this guy that I think I should probably put in, right? But we're gonna do that with a bit of modification tools. That should be fine. And this guy over here is gonna get a bit of bounce light. A bit of bounce light here. As he gets sucked into the floor. Form shadow because of directional lighting. About big pillow? Right, my bad. I think you're a little bit behind, Light. I think your stream's a few thousand frames behind right now. Might want to hit that refresh there, buddy. There you go. Light on the flank right there. Maybe a bit more core shadow to round out the fur in the back. And a bit of bounce light. I don't even know what's happening in this tail. And at this point I don't want to ask. I'm just gonna imagine it looks a certain way and then draw it. The bounce light from the grass. Run at the bottom here and run at the bottom here. Yeah, maybe. I said that so long ago. My god. Maybe just a little bit. How can I hold all these frames? That's
Oh, fuck.
a real problem.
I can't believe you've done this.
Quack pack, thanks you, man. Thanks you, man. Thank you, man. Read this. Okay, I think it was a little bit quicker now. There you go, man. Did it. Fun, fun, fun. Cats gaming. That is Mafia. Alright, lower this. Prevent from looking too liney. Of course, change up the poofiness of the cheeks there. It's not unheard of or not crazy to think about a little bit of mixing the lights here. Push a bit of red bounce light to unify stuff. I think that's possible for sure. A bit of unification can go a long way. I don't think I think about this stuff too often, but I think I should. Push a bit more red in there, put a bit more satin there, a bit more light in there. Can definitely help, I feel like. Not that much, but something of that order. Like that's, I think, definitely a worthwhile, good change. I think down here for sure, a little bit. Not exactly that value, but a bit lower than that. Again, sample the value, push it lighter, push it redder. Get that bounce light value. Bren, how's it going? Go follow Bren. I'm your Twitch writer right there. How's it going, buddy? Thank you very much. I'm just doing a bit of a repaint, something that I did earlier. So it looks a little bit drab and dilapidated, but that's where I started out from. Going well, a little slow, but always steady. Hell yeah, that's what I like to hear. We just changed the lighting on this guy. That was the original, and this is what I'm cooking with right now. A lot of fun. What's really funny about this is that I gave this piece to crit for somebody to crit, and they gave me a crit that looked very similar to what I am looking at right now, which is kind of cool because they were a lot better than me. Good sign of improvement, I guess. We'll do some minor adjustments, and then I'm going to evaluate the homework. Also, Heidi, I think I saw you earlier. Did I mention that I read your comment? I don't know if you're still in here, but how's it going, Heidi? I have no idea if I responded to you then, but I did read your comment. And yes, there is homework now. Whenever I do one of those big critique streams, I give people homework. Like I said, the homework this week is to draw 6 cylinders, 6 spheres, and 6 cubes, and render them out. And I basically showed everybody how to do it. It's a very good exercise, and really tells me if you are ready for the next homework, which is next week, which is going to be form painting. So basically the things that I had to do to do these paintings over here. So really, if you're good with form painting, you can do a painting like this in less than 3 weeks. You can't magically become an artist? Nah, I'm just joking. Wait, when's that due? Saturday? But you can do it earlier if you want. I'm certainly not opposed. You can't just hit a button and be an artist? I didn't realize the homework was open to anyone. Of course it's open to anyone, yeah. I expect all of you guys to do it. You can. But we're going to be going over somebody's homework right now, so you guys can see whether or not you got all the steps that we talked about. More core shadow here. Ideally, I think in the future, when I do these kind of repaints, I think I'm going to start from scratch, because I'm really fighting a lot of the work that I've already put into the piece. Right? Because I'm completely relining the piece that I did earlier. And I do think they're kind of fighting, it's kind of fighting itself right now. I wrote a whole heap of notes from yesterday. It was so helpful. Hey, oh, you're welcome. I'm glad that it was. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream. That was a fun stream. I've never done a pure teaching stream before, so that was a really fun little thing. It's on YouTube already if people want to see the raw version. I am kind of thinking about editing it, but it's very hard to find the time, because even though I'm in my term break right now, my schedule is still stacked. We're doing other stuff. So we'll see, but in the very least, the raw footage is out there, and it will be out there forever for anybody to use, so I think that should be sufficient. Hello, person who's also on the other side of the screen. Good to see you. How's it going, Glow? Push a bit of green, a bit of light, and in a second, with all of my might, will I get my colors shining and bright, and it will be such a sight. Alright, got that green in there. Same thing over here. Alright, I think I'm about ready to call this here. Let me push some of the values here. I'm going to play around a little bit with unification, with a bit of saturation changes, but we'll see. How are you feeling, James? Really good. I had a mild fever yesterday, but it's all gone, and I feel perfectly normal. It feels good. I really don't like falling sick, and I very rarely do fall sick. But especially given this current climate, this is probably historically one of the worst times ever to fall ill. Because whether you have it or you don't want to be putting more pressure on the healthcare system, and Singapore is not doing the best, so I'm always a bit worried. But yeah, everything's fine. We're all good. Back to normal. Which is funny, because back home in India, I felt sick almost every week, but in the Netherlands and in Singapore, I felt sick not even a single time in the Netherlands over the course of 2 years. And it's been 4 months in Singapore so far. And again, I've gotten maybe a fever once, right? A real like fever once. I think I just have like specific allergies and reactions and things. Okie dokie. 2 things that I want to add. I want to add those little markings on either side. He's got like a triangular one near his leg, right there. Why is this soundtrack so spooky? Right there. This one over here. This is a little bit of a trick when you want to do markings on your animals or on your painting. If you already established your value scheme, just do shifting instead. Don't paint. Just shift it. And to get some writing. Hey, cheers. Have a good one, Bren. Go follow Bren, by the way. If I have a mod in here, shout her out. If you guys are into writing, go check her out. Do you speak Dutch? Not really. I understand some of it, but my Dutch gets worse by the day, basically. At least you're getting some sleep now? I am getting some sleep now, it's true. I thought I could hear a twang of Western Europe in your voice. Couldn't tell between Netherlands and Scandinavia. I guess it's not in everything that I say, but sometimes, like when I say Netherlands, I say Netherlands. That's how you say it in Dutch, but nothing beyond that, I don't think. Darken this up. With the littles of English and I'm sorry, of Indian and Dutch in there. Control H to hide the selection, by the way. So you see I'm adding markings right now, but it's not disrupting my values. It still maintains the light and dark. Just playing around with this a little bit. And we'll unify it in a second, don't you worry about that. We will unify it in a second. I'm just shifting things slightly. Okay, filter mask that. One of the biggest concerns here is the edge. Make sure the edge fits. I'm just painting into my mask right now. What's funny is that I've met a couple of friends on Cynic's Discord and Ross's Discord and James' Discord, so I met a few Dutch people there, and they I love it when they swear and they don't think people can understand them. Like, I know what you just said! By the way, James, my nephews, they're very impressed with these Pokemon drawings. You see, James, you're inspiring even the next generation. I thought you were the next generation, Glow. What are you talking about? Wasn't dark in there. You see how that kind of worked out pretty quickly?
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
It was a small little change, right? Because we just did some filtering there, but it's something you can do to just quickly kind of get a, you know, a quick read there. A quick little read, if you're stuck for time, for example. And the point that I'm trying to make over there is that since we shifted values, even though I painted the same amount of like dark or whatever in these areas, see this dark that's in the light, it's still lighter than this dark. So it's a very simple way of like ensuring that even though, because you worked so hard already to kind of establish good values in your piece, so it makes some amount of sense to kind of retain that structure. So when you're putting patterns on top of your existing value scheme, what can oftentimes happen is that pattern's going to ruin the values, because remember, the pattern is still going to be affected by the light. So a slight workaround in digital is to just ensure that that is just modifying the base value as opposed to just sitting on top of the values. Now you can still kind of use multiply and lower opacity and things like that, but this is probably one of the easiest ways to accomplish this. And again, once you're kind of happy with that, you can save the change and you can do slight little things to make sure everything's unified. For example, over here, I can push things a bit lighter. I'm gonna add a bit more like, you know, squiggly swaggly things. Thanks, Zona, by the way, I appreciate that follow. We can add a bit more lightness here and there, just to keep things unified, totally fine. Over here as well, make it look like fur a bit more, sure, can do that. But as a beginning step, right, that's really useful. It's a really useful beginning step to try out. Right, look at how much more form we have, man, isn't that crazy? One dimension to 2 dimensions. I think this cast shot is a bit important here, because the cast shot actually comes forward right there. Otherwise, see, the reason you put a cast is because you can have a strong idea about how things spatially relate. It's right there, it's not doing its job really. So I push it forward. Cast shot is going to be incredibly useful, man. Like one of my ADs basically says that he uses cast shadow almost exclusively to show space. It's Ona's secret account. I wouldn't doubt it, man. She's spying on me. She's trying to get all those FTD tricks out of me. It won't happen, Ona. We're on to you. Ona is one of our friends, by the way. Ex-Ona. Don't worry too much about that. It's an inside friend joke. Cut the little nubbins and the ears off a little bit there. Change the silhouette, because it's a little bit samey-same. It's a bit samey-same, I don't like that. To make sure it's a little bit more graphic, I feel like would be nice. Kinda add to the more Pokemon-y feel. A bit more graphic. Check this out. Hello, Inner Glow. I do a terrible Ona accent. My Ona is actually horrible. My Ona impression. I can get some of the intonation right, but I can't match your pitch. Legit horrible impression. To try them? I appreciate that. I think there's no reason to keep this in shadow right there. It's not going to be too much shadow. That's kind of implying that the thing on top is casting. It's not really casting, is it? Can I have a little bit of local color variation in the fur? What are the ideas for that? Let's look at the line. The line goes lighter to darker. So there could be some darker patches here, right? Understandable. So let's try and do that. A little bit of change. So let's see what it might look like. We'll grab a patch, okay? This is going to be our patch. We'll grab this and we'll see what we can do with it. Let's try a little bit of darkness. Ugh, Jesus, looks awful. And a little bit of maybe saturation. Maybe a bit of orange in there. Okay, so we'll get rid of this nonsense. So right now I'm on a mask. Okay, I'm on a mask. So this mask, basically, I'm going to paint into it. And it's going to make whatever I paint darker and a little bit more saturated. And I'm going to see if I like how it looks. Because I don't usually do this, right? So I'm always interested to see what it looks like. Because I'm always sort of excited to try new stuff, right? So this can give me some interesting kind of variation. It's beyond just, what the hell? What? Oh, okay, it's because I'm still in selection. Never mind. But this is going to give me some interesting variation. So it's not just going to be the same color fur everywhere. We're going to get some additional stuff. Look how cool that is, man. That's kind of cool. You got to admit, that's a little bit cool, right? It's giving me that extra dimension, extra flavor. And the nice thing about it again is that it's respecting my lights. My lights are being respected here, so I can do this kind of freely. It's a mask. So like I said, I don't use masks too often in the past, but now that I'm getting more into concept style work, I kind of need these kind of things to speed up my process. So while I don't recommend it to any of you guys, I'm going to show you what it looks like. But that one can be left as is, I think. I don't think I want to mess with that. The problem with the next generation is they don't shut up. Fair enough. I think I still have that problem, to be honest. I've had people that I'm friends with, IRL, say that when they come to my stream. They're like, man, I really like seeing you paint, but you just don't stop talking. And I'm like, yeah, what can I say about that? I mean, you're right. Like, my policy on my stream is just to always keep the air kind of full with talk. Especially useful stuff, man. Always talk about art stuff. But to be fair, I've gotten a good few number of followers that have just followed me while I've been silent. And I'm like, so what you're saying is I should just be quiet. They're making it hard to listen to you? Just put me on speaker. I'll discipline the children. I'll put a full Indian accent on, and I'll be like, "Oh, you kids, you better listen to your uncle, otherwise I will scam your grandmother out of her credit card information." And then they'll definitely be quiet. I mean, there's always the option of muting a stream, right? I guess, but then some people like want to listen to the music, I guess. I don't know, man. I don't know. I want to listen to people talk, so I'm like in your corner right now. I learn a bunch, so please keep talking. Okay, if you insist. Personally, I actually like talking when I paint. Not certain things, like design stuff I just want to keep quiet, but what we just did, by the way. But for other things, for example, just generic painting stuff, I can always keep talking, man. I have so much to talk about, so much to learn, and so much to disseminate, so that stuff's pretty straightforward. If it didn't talk, I would never learn anything. I'm glad you find something useful. The whole point. Like, I'm not gonna stop doing it by any means, of course not. Just pointing out that it's kind of funny to me. Okay. So we made a quick little change there. Added some slight local color variations. Very common, man. On wolves, particularly, there's a lot of local, a lot of local color shifts towards the red, deep reds on wolves. So I was thinking about that when I made this change. Same thing with lions. What's funny about lions is that the lion mane actually becomes darker and darker and darker the older the lion gets. So you can kind of tell how like mature a lion is by its mane. I learned that from Aaron Blaze, and he knows a couple of things about lions, and he ain't lying. You guys can leave now if you want. Okie dokie. Let's up the saturation, shall we? Sorry, Clarzy. I am bringing back some of the saturation that I axed from the piece earlier. Axe that saturation. Where's the door? Windows work too. I do not advocate defenestration on the stream, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Ah, look at his big puffy cheeks. Oh, he's so cute. Alright. Nice and vibrento. I am unhappy with Growlithe. I really should have got a Growlithe reference and redrawn the face. I'm gonna say that right now. Okay, I really should have done that. He looks a little bit strange. Not gonna lie. But we're gonna leave it as is for now. He looks like a smug, like high school bully for some reason. Like, it's Tanner the Growlithe. And this is like his biker dad that smells like booze and has a chain tattoo around his arm and wears a leather jacket with studs on it. That's basically my narrative right now. Let's do a little bit of relighting, huh? Let's shift the lighting a little bit higher. Oh Jesus, that's not what I meant. Do a little bit of a pushy push. Alright, let's try that again. Jesus Christ. My hand slipped. I'm just pushing the lights one step higher. Cool, cool. Gonna add a hard little highlight across the side here of the beautiful, beautiful ears. And this needs a bit of ambient occlusion near the hair. The lurk, no problem, Clarsey. You see how that AO really helps? It really doesn't matter to think about the AO sometimes. Over here we can do a little bit of tangential lighting. Remember how we talked about that? It'll be tangential color of the atmosphere. Here. Just to run out that form a bit more. Small little change from that to that. You see how it rounds it a little bit more? That's what we're talking about right there. Bit of tangential lighting. Growlithe seems fine to me, my dude. His mohawk might be a tad big, but nothing that breaks the read. Fair enough. Very fair. Bit of ambient here. Because the ear proximity to the hair. I should really be a bit more methodical with this, I feel like. To a certain degree, I do like painting a little bit more kind of freely. But I think I might be able to up my efficiency of workflow if I have just one pass for AO, one pass for cast lighting, and just think about it a bit more. I should try painting like that, because I'm more used to my illustration mindset of just paint whatever I want, basically. But I should actually do it some timing comparisons to see what's legitimately better or not. Again, AO helps a lot to separate those things out. Just one of those fundamental tools. Bit of AO near the ear. This might be a little bit too separated, I feel like. The top with the bottom. I think it's okay. I think I'm gonna reduce the AO there a little bit. I feel like that doesn't need to be that crazy different. Like some of this stuff, especially this light against that dark, is a bit too much. It's gonna get reduced. So I'm gonna introduce a bit more cast shadow there. Cut that contrast a bit more. And add some bounce light in here. Again, reduce the weight. Again, this is what I'm talking about, right? We use fundamental concepts to just simply allow us to do what we want to do, right? Nothing more than that. We're just manipulating the fundamentals. Fun. Growlithe could do with one pass of light on his chest, I feel like. Stuff would be a little bit lighter. No reason why it shouldn't have a similar lighting characteristic to the chest of his dad or mom. Pokemons have gender, right? Am I wrong? I seem to remember that, yeah, they do, because of Nidoran and Nidorina or whatever. They're not asexual beings. Unless it's a Ditto, I guess. I don't know. I feel like this is a very dangerous topic to get into right now. Let's just move on. Put an AO back there. Sounds good to me. Do we want to change anything with the background? I feel like this purple in the background is a little bit too heavy-handed. I think I'm gonna axe it for right now. I think it's a little bit too heavy right there. I think some purple is okay. Maybe closer to the horizon line, we can throw some in there. I think it's appropriate. I seem to recall doing a study that had a sky like this. I think that's where I got it from. Be a bit careful over here, by the way. Which is, don't use the same kind of brush brush pattern exactly for the background, because it tends to sort of ruin the edge contrast of your piece. So try not to use the exact same brush strokes in your background as in your foreground. A simple little technique to kind of get you a better read. Otherwise things tend to be a bit blurry if you don't have a big difference in edge type between background and foreground. Something that I've noticed when using texture brushes. Be a little bit careful about that. We can use our cloud brush trademark. We're gonna add a bit more fuzziness to the sky. If I can find the damn thing. There it is. Just some more interesting patterns. The biggest point over here is that I don't have anything even similar to that shape or that edge quality on my entire piece, so it's kind of helping break up my background foreground a little bit more. It's a subtle thing, but it really does matter. Especially if you use a crazy number of texture brushes, which I tend to do sometimes, so worth thinking about. Okay, I think I'm getting pretty close to this piece being fairly done. I think this floor could use a bit of gradation if I'm not going to be... yeah, I think a little bit of gradation could be somewhat important here. Not super important, but not like insane to consider. Maybe a little bit of yellow, a bit of brightness and warmness, just to unify things a bit more and be okay. Maybe we can just leave it as is right now. It should be fine. I'm gonna make that area a bit darker. There's a gradient from right to left now. And maybe deal with the edges a bit more. The edge of the prairie or whatever. Make it seem like it's in long grass. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna evaluate the homework that somebody's done already on the Discord. And then we'll go ahead and end the stream. Been really fun so far though. Got a fair amount of things done. Really enjoyable. Okay, I'm comfortable calling it there. Really fun repaint there. It's actually crazy just how much better that looks. Especially the Arcanine. Growlithe still I have some qualms about it, but that Arcanine looks really solid. Much more than before at least. I think I could have pushed it a lot more if I just straight repainted it. Because again, I'm kind of fighting a little bit of my initial painting here. So a bit of a mental note for myself. I'm gonna change the lighting direction. I should probably just keep the proportions and just repaint everything else. But I think we did a pretty good job overall. Not bad whatsoever. Really fun. I'd even add a bit more darkness. Some artificial AO in the back of the shoulder. Separate those elements a little bit more. That. Are you gonna stream tomorrow too? Yes, most likely. Towards the night, yeah. We plan to. Try and stream every day in the holidays. I'll try and get most of my work done in the morning, so you guys don't have to see some boring stuff happening on stream. But I need to get some Blender work done, and I need to do some traditional work for my school. But I'll try and do that in the mornings, so you guys can see me do some interesting stuff in the evenings. I think that's fair. Because not everybody wants to do the hardcore kind of concept art thing of doing 3D and everything. So I'm trying to keep the streams interesting. Greener, lighter. And the bonsai value. Definitely show off your Blender progress though. Will do, yeah, will do. Because I'm going to be working with Ona. And Ona and I are going to be doing some showcase work. Is concept art becoming more 3D, or is it still mostly painting? A little bit of both actually. There is very seldom going to be a studio that has no 3D involved into it. but how much 3D you personally need to do is kind of studio dependent. But having a functional knowledge of it is going to make you infinitely more hireable, so it is important. And a lot of the times, if you're doing environments or vehicles, it's just a very useful tool to solve your perspective issues, because really, at a high level, or even at a mediocre level in the industry, you shouldn't be having perspective problems with your drawings. That should be like a given, that's not going to be an issue, right? So unless your deadlines are just really terrible, you have no excuse for having poor perspective. So 3D is just a way of ensuring that you have good perspective on all your work. Alright, I'll call it here. Really fun. Let me just export this as a PNG. I'll give you guys a side-by-side. Is that the RuneScape soundtrack? It is, yeah. Also, I'm reading the message on the group chat. I'll be out in a second. I just got one crit to do. I just did a repaint of this Arcanine. Really fun stuff. Hell yeah, man. I think we've come some way. Really fun, man. I'm actually really happy about that. Take your time, no one's around yet. Cool, cool. Alright. Let's do the homework evaluation now. So like I said, yesterday I asked you guys to render out some of our study assignments. So we had somebody post their homework, so we're going to go ahead and look at that right now. And let's see what we can do.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
Thanks, Dirtost. Appreciate that, dude. We're just gonna go over some homework from the chat. Just give me a second. I'm trying to figure out where they put it, because I can't find it anymore. Oh, there it is. It's in study posts. Okay. Yeah, we just need to repaint that Arcanine piece on the left. That's a bit of old work for me from last year. Been really fun to see how far we've come. So now I think it fits a little bit better with our Charizard and our Blastoise that we did last week. Even though what I should have done is just repaint the entire thing, to be completely honest. But at least they fit a bit better. Got my trifecta there. Alright, I got the homework, so let's go ahead and look at it. The homework, to reiterate, was to draw cubes, to draw cylinders, and to draw spheres. Some basic rendering stuff, and all throughout today's stream, that's basically all that I was doing. I was just rendering out some basic forms, so if you guys are interested to do this kind of work, what I'm about to show you right now is the biggest stepping stone to get here. So let's go ahead and evaluate this homework, shall we? For who submitted this on the Discord? What is your name? It was Travis Arts. Alright, Travis. Let's take a look-see, buddy. Just waiting for my computer to load, because I think I'm over-stressing it. Just give me a second. Hey, thanks, Esso. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, paint's been going pretty good. The school's been teaching me a few things, man. Sick Digimon. You know, that's exactly what my art director said. This guy's worked for... He was an art director for Capcom for 5 years. And he called these Digimon when I showed it to him for crits. It's fucking ridiculous. Alright, my computer's like fully stalled right now, by the way. Oh, there we go. It's back now. I have way too many things open right now. Close that. I'm gonna close Chrome. Where can they post works for the critique? It's on the Discord, so I have a critique channel dedicated to that. I will say that there's going to be a small change with the way that I do critiques, especially towards the end of the stream. If you want an immediate thing, I suggest kind of posting it in the first half of the stream. But otherwise, I will leave the critiques for my critique stream on Saturday. And that way everybody gets a nice long critique and I'm not kind of too tired to do them in a good fashion. So I think that's fair, right? Alright, let's grab the reference. What about Venusaur? I actually might paint him tomorrow. I'm actually strongly considering it. I'll paint him based on like a bullfrog and like a Rafflesia flower. Apologies guys, my computer is like literally dying right now. I'm gonna have to close some things. My Agumon comment went completely underappreciated, so it got exactly the amount of appreciation it deserved. Okay, I'm gonna close the music, guys. Sorry about that, but I need to close stuff on my computer right now because things are not operating to full capacity. Apologies for anybody that likes the banger of a remix that Sea Shanty 2 is. But we're gonna just quickly switch over to this critique over here. And also because I want this to be not muted in the VOD. So, alright. Travis, right? So let's go ahead and look at your work, see what's up with this. The second my Krita responds to me, we can go ahead and start. Alright, I think we have control. I have assumed control. So, Travis, first of all, let me point out the things that are very good, are pretty good over here. And let me then relate those things to what you've done that's not so good, okay? So first of all, I think the 1, 2, 3 stuff, the grasp of it is pretty good. I think your 1s and 2s are maybe a little bit too close over there, but overall not too bad. Not bad at all over there. Same thing over here. Some of these are actually pretty solid. That one's good over there. That one's really good. That's probably the best one in your entire cube set. For your spheres, not all of them. In fact, I don't think any of them are fully where I want them to be, but I'll tell you the ones that are getting closer, which is this one and this one and a little bit of this one, but not really. The cylinders I think you did a lot better at. I think cylinders, I accept this one, that's pretty good. This one is getting there, a bit harsh with that rendering, but okay, not too bad. So I want to give you a couple of pointers here. The first one is that I want to see a little bit of gradation in the background. Okay, it's important to be able to figure out that background. So what I want to see for these cubes is I want you to think about how you're going to place this against the background value, because that'll first of all change your floor value, because right now everything's on the same floor, right? So it'll change your floor value here. How big is this file? I'm gonna lower the size of it. Oh my god, it's 10,000 by 6,000. What are you doing to my computer? Alright, let's make it 1,500 by 900. Jesus Christ, Travis. What kind of machine do you operate on? You guys doing like NASA space calculations. Alright, much better. I was wondering why everything was so slow on my computer, and now I know why. It wasn't the RuneScape music, it was literally your file. Okay, so be a little bit careful. Be a bit careful about that. I want to actually see stuff like this on the background. So experiment with putting in lights and darks like this in your background, okay? That's a little bit of lightness there. So then you can play around with your read a bit more. So add a background to each one of these, and that'll give you a bit more variance in your shadows. Okay, speaking about your shadows, these can use a lot of work, I feel like, right? I think a lot of them are kind of hitting here and there. I did go over how to cast shadows accurately for a cube before, but if that was kind of missed before, let me just show it to you again. So let me cast the shadows off of one of these cubes for you. So how about I'll do it off of... Right on the shadows are a little bit one-dimensional, right? So we can do it on one of these cubes. Are you using a laptop? Yeah, using a laptop. Using like a laptop with an i7 processor, I think. So let's just pick a random cube over here. How about this one? Cool. So this is generally how you do any sort of shadow casting. Simple shadow casting, that is. So pick two lines. One is going to be the line from my light source, okay? And one is going to be the line from the ground point of the light source. And for the time being, even though this is a simplified way of looking at things, we'll just assume that both of these lines are always going to be parallel, meaning that not parallel to themselves, but every line is going to be parallel to itself, basically. So all the vertical lines are going to be parallel. All of these horizontal lines are going to be parallel. So all you have to do to cast shadows, basically, is to simply draw vertical lines. So the lines, when I say vertical lines, I mean draw the lines from directly from the source. So here, here, all of them parallel. And here, and here. Okay, those are all the lines from the light source. And then you draw the lines from the ground point, right? So that's going to be in blue. So remember, the lines on the light source, the direct lines, are going to affect the tops of your sticks, basically, that form your cube. And these other light sources, the ground point, is going to affect the bottom. So let's say this is the direction right here. Here, here, and then here. And if I draw through, it'll be here, but we're going to ignore that because, again, it's going to be inside my cube anyway. So once I kind of do that, right, once I have that done, all I have to do is I need to connect things up. So this line over here and this line over here connects right over here. Number 1 point. This line and this line connects right over here. Okay, I just join them up, and I join this, and I join this, and then this area becomes my shadow. Okay, so I want you to think about this a little bit. It's a very important concept, and do this before you put any value on your cube, because this is what's going to tell you where your shadows actually go. Okay, and then that becomes my shadow value, which is going to be, if I consider halfway to black, it'll be this value. Get rid of my red lines. That'll be my shadow value, okay? So do stuff like that. I really do recommend it. It makes sure your shadows are accurately plotted, and it makes them a little bit cleaner, a little bit more sensible, okay? That's a very standard way of projecting shadows. Once you project your shadows, I see some work done there, but they look a little bit messy. This one is almost okay. This one I think is the best one of the lot. Be a bit careful there, okay, with your shadow casting. Because again, this will matter a lot when you're doing your cast shadows on other forms. So you want your cast shadows to be a bit more natural. So when I give you next week's assignment, being able to get this done right is going to be the difference between a good looking piece and a bad looking piece, I'll tell you. So remember what I said before? I think the idea of the ambient occlusion is getting there a little bit better. So again, the ambience on these two are really good. I think that's well handled. So do the same thing for over here, okay? So like I said, all you have to do is select that area and go a little bit darker near that top area right there, a little bit darker there, and then don't forget to muddy up that edge, right? Edge. I don't really care how you do it, right? But just make sure that edge over there gets a little bit progressively blurrier the further and further you go away, and you should be pretty good to go. So your cube's overall not too bad. I want to talk about the mistakes here. It's a simple shadow, right? I think in this one over here in particular, I think you're losing a lot of resolution over here, so ensure that there's still always a clear read between your lights and your darks. So I think this light, like when I blur my eyes, I lose the resolution from this face to this face. So prevent that from happening, okay? So you need to actively think about what the read is, because when you do your paintings, eventually, you should have the liberty to say, I want this to be clear and I don't want this to be clear. So since we've said in this particular assignment, I want it to be clear, I want you to actively exercise some good judgment here and say, okay, I'm going to make sure that read is proper. So see, I don't sacrifice ingredients, but the read is infinitely higher right now, okay? This one as well, a little bit of a problem here, which is that your lights should be a little bit cleaner, I feel like, right? So right over here, I appreciate the bounce side and everything, but I think it could be a bit cleaner because right now I'm getting like more light towards the left-hand side, even though there should be a gradual gradient. So be a little bit solid with your shapes, with your shading. So don't go crazy like light and then dark and then suddenly light again. Okay, so make sure that the gradation's a bit more solid, okay? Fill out the entire form, so don't leave empty spaces like this, for example. That kind of breaks the form a little bit. So shade all the way up to the edge of your shape. This might be because of your edges, I'm not entirely sure. But even if it is, remember this is a light face to a dark face transition. So the edge is going to be darker in general than this face. So I expect an edge like this over here. Okay? Remember, edges are going to be intermediate values most of the time. So this kind of edge is going to be seen here. And fill out the entire shape. See, that kind of helps a lot. But again, I see a bit of lightness. So just make sure that that transition is quite gradual. This one I think is good. For this one, more gradation. A bit more gradation. I want to actually see the gradation over here. It shouldn't read as flat to me, okay? So this face and this face are quite natural. I like that. This one over here could be improved. This one is pretty good. I think overall pretty good, the best one of the lot. Maybe a little bit too reflective on the edges. Just think about this edge and this edge being a bit more transitionary, but if this is going to be a highlight, I think it's acceptable. This one and this one is not acceptable though. This needs to be a transitionary value, so something like this is more appropriate as a transition to make it look more natural than it already is. Okay, that seems better. Okay. But overall pretty good with this one. For your spheres, I think a couple of things need to be done here. First thing is up your core shadow. I want the core shadow to be a bit more visible in these. So definitely you can think about adding a bit more core shadow here. That'll increase the roundness. I think your gradation is being taken care of pretty well. I think you're keeping in mind the fact that this is going over a curved surface. That's very good. That's very good. So that's happening over there. So that's good work. Be a little bit careful about your value usage, okay? Because right now this value it's kind of coming dangerously close to this value over here. So remember that your bounce light values are not going to be very close to your main light values because light's going to lose a lot of energy when it bounces. So make sure that when you're choosing your bounce light, kind of choose something that's a little bit less powerful than your main light. So something like this is more appropriate because you don't need that much, right? It's a little bit lighter here, it's fine. And that'll be a sufficient kind of bounce light value. And then again, gradient across. That'll keep your read pretty solid. Because again, the viewer should clearly kind of know where your bounce light is, where your main light is. Hey, how's it going, man? Good to see you. All right. I was talking to somebody in the chat, by the way. So this is supposed to go to somebody. I'm sorry, Shees. All right. Something that I want to talk about here. I haven't explained it in the lecture that I gave on Saturday, if you can call it that, the educational stream. But I'll show you how to cast shadows, because I'm not going to blame you for these shadows over here. Some things that I want to point out over here is that the edges, again, they can't be crystal clear. They have to be a little bit blurred out, right? Because again, they're away from whatever is casting, so these shadows need to be a little bit more blurred out over here.
Fuck.
Okay?
I can't believe you've done this.
Because again, remember, this can't get lighter without the edge being affected, okay? It just can't happen. Because the light's kind of infiltrating the area of the dark and it's eroding the edge of the shadow, okay? So just like you did over here, for example, like how I did over here for this shadow, I want to see the same kind of thing over here. So whatever technique you want to use is up to you. I just prefer to just Gaussian blur it, but it's up to you, right? So you can have that kind of hardness over here, but definitely not over here. Good job with this thing over here, the contact shadow, not bad. Yeah, pretty good. For these ones, again, all of these things could benefit from a bit more core shadow. You saw what I did over there, right? You saw what I did over there. A bit more core shadow would be nice on all of these. Adds a bit more to the roundness. Let me do it for this one. Again, a little bit more core shadow. Goes a long way in adding more roundness to your spheres. I do think you've done a pretty good job with the blending, right? I think you followed the contour, and that was the biggest thing that I talked about in the stream. I said, please follow the blending. Please follow the contour lines. I think you've done that pretty well, so good job on that. It's just that I think the core shadow in these could be stronger. You see how much more rounded that looks now? Just because we upped that core shadow. Not a crazy amount, right? Just enough to kind of give us that impact that we're looking for. Stronger core shadows, okay? This one is almost there. Almost there with this one. Just I think that the core shadow could be a little bit more blended with that dark side of it to make it look more natural, right? And again, be careful with your bounce light. You don't need it to be this harsh. Maybe a little bit less. Cheers, Glow. See you in a bit, buddy. A little bit less. Because you can still get that transition, right? I want to see that transition, but you don't need to have it be super harsh. Because what you're really training right now with these small exercises is you're kind of thinking about how much do I need for contrast? Not just in the sense that you're always going to push contrast, but you're also thinking about how much is natural and how much is unnatural, right? So you're thinking about that as well. Back to the cubes for a second. Again, I want you to strongly think about the read, okay? So the read needs to be there. So remember, the read is a 1, 2, 3 read. So great job over here. I see you marked them out for yourself. This one though, I see a 1, the 2 and the 3 are almost identical. Have to make sure that these two actually have a hierarchy to them. So don't just make both of them exactly the same, right? I know that it makes sense to you, and I completely agree why. But in this kind of painting, I really want you to look at excuses to try and make the faces individually accurate and readable. Because I think if I remove the edge over here, this thing just kind of falls to the waist and everything looks the same if I just remove the edge. Right? I lose kind of all the form over there. So I would consider maybe darkening up this face maybe a little bit. Not too much, right? Not too much, but enough so that it's readable. Otherwise, I think the transition, the gradation on this one is pretty good. I think you did a good job there. So just a little bit of a touch of darkness in there. And again, infinitely better, right? In terms of readability, so much more readable with a very swift change. And again, remember the gradation and the floor. So we did the floor over here, which is fine. Think about that background, okay, for all of these. Change the background value, change the floor value. It'll give you more mileage to try and tackle different conditions. Lastly, the cylinders, I think overall, not bad. I am going to expect there to be cast shadows on all of these things. So please cast shadows over here, over here, over here, over here. It's missing, right? And over there as well. I'm okay with missing the sphere shadows. That's fine because I haven't really shown anybody how to do that yet. But you're welcome to read it up in the material that I talked about. But for these ones, it's just casting a square basically. So cast squares, that'll be fine. As far as like the core shadow, nice core shadow there, pretty good. Really good over here, very nice. Even though the bounce light is going to be a bit lower here, so a bit of a mistake there. So I would probably interchange these two values. So that would go here. And the bounce light value will go here to make it seem a bit more natural. Right? But beyond that, pretty good for this cylinder. Not bad at all, I think. Maybe a bit more gradation. Let me grab my round brush. Probably do about that much, I think. Nice job with the core shadow as well. Well done with the blending. I think that stuff is pretty good. I think your blending technique is fine. Your technique with blending is pretty good across all of these things, so good job on that. I think just a bit of logic should be changed, and you should be pretty good to go here. This one, I'm not quite sure what happened to it. Seems a little bit unfinished. And I think overall, try and pick lighting directions that are kind of top down, because that's mostly what you're going to be doing. But I don't really mind if you do this kind of stuff. Just cast a shadow properly, you should be good. Just do a good job at casting stuff, and I think you'll be okay. This one over here, since this is a flat surface, just paint it flat, right? Just paint it flat. The gradation should be kind of flat. So don't make it like it's spherical, unless that's the intention, right? So if it's going to be flat, then just ensure that particular gradation is actually flat as well. Go, just masking this out quickly. And then I want to kind of see this. Because remember, you did this for the cubes, right? So you should have no problem. Because this stuff really flattens it out. That kind of thing right there. Race around here really quickly. Just gonna get rid of the excess. But that tends to flatten things out way more than having a bit of that spherical nature in it. So just to prevent anything from being kind of misread in the read. This one's pretty good though. That's nice. That's okay. Maybe a bit light, but it's okay. This one's also okay. I like the core shadows. So overall, I think good job with the spheres and good job with the cylinders. check that. Good job with the cubes and good job with the cylinders. But spheres could use some work. So maybe a bit more practice would be nice. So yeah, if you really want to push this a little bit more, I'd draw a few more spheres. I think be a bit careful. I'm not gonna say draw more cubes because I think some of them are actually pretty good. That one's nice, like I said. But yeah, I think spheres could use some work, but don't worry about that, that's fine. I think stuff like tangential lighting is missing, stuff like highlights a bit more is missing, a bit more core shadow is missing. But beyond that, I think pretty good job overall. So not bad, not bad. Overall assessment is pretty good over here. So good job, man. Thanks for doing the homework. I think you did a pretty good job overall. So hopefully, if you have any questions, you'll contact me. But yeah, I think pretty good. Pretty good so far. Save this file in case you need it. And that's going to be it for the stream, guys. Hopefully you guys got some insight. You're welcome to do the homework yourself, by the way. The homework for this week is just doing cubes, spheres, and cylinders, and I show you how in my previous stream. So if you want to do this and get a bit better with your painting, you're more than welcome to, and I'll try my best to evaluate where you're going wrong and right. Otherwise, if you're just catching us right now, we did a bit of a repaint of this Arcanine that I worked on a while ago. So this was, I think, December last year, and this I did just now. So fun little technique changes. Just getting my Pokemon back in order here. Hopefully you like that kind of stuff. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and end stream right now. I'm gonna find somebody to raid, but hopefully you had a fantastic time in stream. Always enjoy hosting you guys, but we're gonna try and find somebody to pass you fellas along. If you can stick around for just a second. Of course, you are always welcome to join that Discord if you want to find out where to, you know, post all this stuff, where to get additional information, or maybe ask the community for some questions, because we have an excellent community over there. A lot of great people in there. I can answer your questions. Also, if you're not following already, I stream just about every day that I can, and every stream is meant to get you a little bit better at all things painting. And if you'd like to support the stream, you're more than welcome to donate bits and subs and all that stuff. It's very much appreciated. It goes back into the stream, helps me afford things. So you're more than welcome to do that if you can afford to. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and find a streamer to raid. Most likely going to be Mr. Randomese, if he's online currently. Because we helped him yesterday to get a bit better at his painting fundamentals. I think it would be sensible to go ahead and give him a raid if he's online. He doesn't seem to be online right now. That's unfortunate. We can raid somebody else. How about Lucy or Tom Chi? I like to raid people that are a bit lower on the board. What's Tom doing? Tom is less? Okay, I'm good with Tom. Can do Tom, yeah. Let's go ahead and raid him. Alright guys, much appreciated, dude. Really appreciate that. Can we get some outro music in there? Randomness is live? Wait, what? Am I not following him? I'm not following him, okay, alright. Interesting. Let's go ahead and raid him. Hollow Knight? Hollow Knight. That's a big no for me, dog. I don't raid gaming streams. Sorry about that. It's a big back and forth right now. I'll raid him the next time, it's fine. I'll have plenty of other opportunities to raid him. Alright, let's go ahead and raid Tom. Sounds good to me. You can't follow him though? Nah, not possible, sorry. Tom T is epic, I do like him. Alright boys and girls, thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully you got some entertainment value / artistic information out of my stream. But I will see you tomorrow for some more painting. Probably gonna do a Venusaur form painting for you guys. But otherwise, hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Spend it well, spend it wisely, and always remember to do your work, do your goddamn work, and do some more work on top of that. But I'm gonna have a wonderful night playing some video games, and I'll catch you tomorrow for some more painting. Have a good one and cheers.
No way! Oh my